Well, thank you. Good morning and hope you're doing well. My presentation is talking about Faraday folding antennas. I tend to like to fiddle around with different antennas. I saw this material being presented once with UHF antennas. I thought it might be of interest to create something for VHF and UHF. Okay, so we're all familiar, well, some of you are familiar with the slim jim and J-pole type construction made out of copper pipe and aluminium and all those sorts of things. But I wanted something that was a bit more compact. I could take hiking or visit a park or something like that. So I thought there must be a better way of getting around with something a little bit smaller. So I wanted something that had some gain. And 5/8 whips were a bit too big to go portable with. So I thought, I wonder if I could make something that mimics the ability of the J-pole and the slim jim. So firstly, slim jim, some of its characteristics is an end-fed folded dipole antenna. It's known to have pretty good gain, a nice low-angle takeoff for VHF and UHF operation. It requires no ground plane to operate effectively. So I thought, well, that's certainly a candidate. So just a couple of comparisons with gain. The slim jim has got a 6 dB gain approximately, a bandwidth of about 7+ megahertz, a nice low takeoff angle, 7 to 8 degrees. I don't know how they really measure that, but anyway. It's a bit like a J-pole, with an added parallel element in the top section creating a folded dipole. The J-pole antenna got a gain of about 3 dB. Bandwidth is a lot narrower, it's only about 4 megahertz, and the takeoff angle higher, around about 20 degrees. And construction standard half-wave antenna with a quarter wave matching section to it. So I did a bit of research, and I came up with this interesting website, MOUKD. So somebody may have used it for designing antennas. So what you do is you pump in the values that you want, and it gives you the calculations to build it. And I was very happy that when I started construction, these were pretty darn accurate. So I was pretty happy with that, because I have used other calculators on board internet and found them a little wanting, I guess one might say. So with my design, I needed a few different type of materials. First thing is, obviously I needed some Faraday tape because I wanted to utilise it, and it's readily available on the internet. And it has a self-adhesive backing to it. It's not too bad, but I did find that in some sections I had to put a little bit of hot melt glue. But I'm going to actually get the sewing machine out and actually sew it onto my backing material. And I think that'll be a little bit more permanent. Okay, having played with tapes before and found them to be not conductive, the first thing I did before I started anything was check that it had conductivity. I built a magnetic loop using foil, which is supposed to have been metallic, only to find out when I put a meter on, not metallic. So a first test was to check that the continuity was there. So I wanted something that was fairly rugged, reasonably priced, and I started a bit of a hunt around the stores, and I found those luggage straps that we all put on our luggage when we go overseas. And I thought, yeah, they're a good starter. They've certainly got the length for it. So that became the next material I needed. So I removed a lot of the clips that were on there and 3D printed my own fittings, which I'll show in a moment. And that enabled me the freedom of design to be able to come up with something that was reasonable. I used those little connectors which have the two screw fittings to utilise the connection into the antenna, because I always use BNCs. I know a lot of people say, no good, but if it's good enough for the military, it's good enough for me. So I use these particular fittings, and you'll see in a moment how I utilise them. So I 3D printed up these blocks, and the idea being is that the luggage strap would push through the little slots there, and when you see a next view, you'll see where the B&C connector fits into the 3D fitting. So there you can see my setup there to test the VSWR. So I just made up a couple of little clips and I moved them backwards and forwards until I got a reasonable VSWR. And once I got that achieved, I put in some M3 screws and nuts and washers, and I was pretty happy with the SWR. So how well does it work? Well, I've been able to hit repeaters using this antenna quite well compared to other little quarter waves and things that I'd been using when I was out somewhere remote. So I was pretty pleased that they work very well. So what are my conclusions? Well, Slim Jim potential advantages. You've got a closed loop at the end which may provide slight theoretical noise reduction and a lower takeoff angle. So I think it pretty well meets its design requirements. The J-pole is a simpler design. You don't have that folded dipole component and you have a higher takeoff angle. So questions? Any questions at all? And I'll show you some demonstrations. So you can see they're ultra portable.
Wow. It's not good for a moment.
So there's the folded dipole one. So the Faraday tape, as I said, is self-adhesive. It's pretty well adhered to the backing.
It's the same as burglar alarm tape, isn't it?
Sorry?
Same as burglar alarm window tape.
That's aluminium. No, I think that's copper. No, this is. I don't know how they make it. It's a textile, and it's certainly conductive, and it certainly works very well. So there's a little fitting there I made up. So you put your antenna lead onto here, and you hang it on a tree or a branch or whatever you can possibly find to get on the air. So that's the. I don't know if that'll sit there. That's the Slim Jim, and this is the J-pole. They're both usable for UHF and VHF use, and I need a longer arm. Sorry? A tree, yeah. So I made the same sort of fitting. I also put some little holes through here because when I was experimenting I found that if the wind comes up it starts to sort of get a little bit of a wobble. So I just drop a piece of string there and tie it off to a branch or something like that, and that stops the antenna moving around so much. Otherwise you get the sort of mobile flutter, I guess one might say. So that's the... Sorry? The other thing is with the Slim Jim, you definitely need a choke at the other end. I just use these inline things and I heat shrink. I read up on how many they reckon is effective and I just heat shrink the number of those and it makes a nice little choke. Because when I was setting it up and testing it, I hooked it up to the VNA. Terrible SWR. I thought, what have I done wrong? Then I realised I needed the choke, hooked up the choke and got a lovely one-to-one. So I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, what sort of power do you think it'll handle? And number two, does the SWR change when the wind blows it a bit?
I have never checked SWR when it blows. And I'm only ever putting, maximum about 10 watts through. I've never really gone out there and pumped 25 watts or 30 watts through, so I really don't know.
Yeah.
But I know the people that use it for HF are using 100 watts through it. So I suspect it probably could handle more wattage. But it's a really handy way of making an antenna which has got gain in a very small package, because you can just throw it in you can wind it up like this and just throw it in your pack along with your handheld, and you've got a very, very convincing piece of antenna that I was fairly impressed with it, to be honest with you. I was just sort of fiddling and experimenting, and I thought, gee, that stuff looks good. And I've got something like about another 20 metres of it, which I'm going to do some more experimentation. I was actually thinking of adhering it to one of my windows in my home and having a sort of a permanent antenna on the window, just as a... Sorry, the tape, yeah, just a tape, and just seeing how that goes.
It's been done burglar tape to make your antennas on the window.
Yeah, I guess so. And the further adaptation, I was only thinking the other night, is I might put some Velcro on that, because at the moment I use rubber bands. But I thought I'd put a bit of Velcro on there, and then that makes it a little bit more professional looking, I guess one might say. But yeah, they're a great little antenna, cheap enough to build. This tape, I think, was you might recall on there. I think it might have been about $20 or something posted, so it's not dear. And 20 metres gives you an awful lot of experimentation.
So you could probably use it as a carriage in as well.
Yeah, quite possibly, yeah.
The other good thing I can think of
Right.
is that would be great for travelling overseas when you
Oh,
don't
absolutely.
have you don't want a huge antenna in your suitcase or a telescopic or something.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the customs don't even ask you about it.
Well, they'd look at that and say that's a luggage strap, I would imagine. Yeah, it might come up as something in their luggage checking, but
The trickiest part for me would be the connection point, because I don't do 3D printing.
yeah.
So you're going to make some?
If someone wants the STL file, I'm more than happy to pass it on to you.
Yeah.
It's pretty basic. The big thing is I wanted to be able to be moved up and down for the tuning, and I thought, no, I'm not going to go blindly and do as the suggestion with the calculations of being 49 millimetres from the base. So I made up those little clamps, and then once I got that right, I thought, right, I'll lock it down and use some M3 screws and lock it up in that fashion. But as I said, next adaptation of this, the next version will have some Velcro on it, so it's a little bit more professional in its compactness. And I don't know how you get two good antennas like that so small otherwise.
So that's a halfway. It's a halfway fold loop.
Yep.
With open end at the bottom at the feed point, is it?
Yeah.
Or is it like a J?
No, it's got a loop. Do you want to have a look at it? Which one, the Slim Jim or?
The fold dipole. I know there's no J poles there.
That's the J pole, right? And you'll notice there's the loop, and I'm tapping into
that's
there.
a quarter wave match.
Yeah.
But on the
On the Slim Jim, yep. You'll see it's only. No, it goes. There's a loop across, and there's you just got your matching point just there. Oh, okay. Okay. So there's the.
Oh, nice.
There it is there. But I found that it didn't take much to, when I was experimenting, to move that up and down to get a good match, and I was really impressed with its ability to do the job.
So, Colin, you sort of hang this from a branch, is that what you're saying?
Whatever's available, yeah.
Because you'd probably want to keep it away from a trunk or something, I guess.
Well, there was a street sign I threw a string over a street sign and I hung it up and it still worked fine.
The metal pole.
The metal pole had no effect on it, and I was talking to a guy, I don't know, on some repeater that I'd never been able to get into before. So they really work sensationally, you know. I was quite impressed. But if anyone wants the SDL file, I've got it at home and I'm more than happy to fire it to you. And these, without giving plugs to various companies, there's plenty of people that sell these at very reasonable prices. They're principally some of about $3.50 or something like that. So, you know, a very, very cheap antenna to build and with good gain. Good gain. Yeah.
Does the adhesive soften if the ring's up?
I haven't noticed that to be the case, no. And I've been fiddling around these for probably 2 months.
So if you had it sitting on a dashboard of a car, storage, it would...
That probably could be the torture test, because I've had biros melt in cars once before. So, yeah, that could be a torture test. But the next thing I thought of is I'm going to get the sewing machine out and I'm going to run a single stitch down there just to make it a little bit more mechanically stable. So that's a few more adaptations, but fun little antenna. Fun little antenna. Any other questions at all?
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
You get a stainless steel fishing line,
Right.
leader line.
Right.
You could overlock it onto the tape. Sew it onto the tape
Right.
instead of the metallic tape.
I don't know how portable it would be. You know, that's pretty small, and I think they tend to have a memory, those leads.
Yeah, I guess so.
But when I saw this stuff, I thought, geez, you know, that's got millions of uses.
You're about 2 quid a while.
You know, if you were going to build you know, I know we're talking about VHF antennas today, but if you're going to build a HF antenna, you know, you could run that along the barge board of your house as a stealth antenna. I do encourage anyone to give it a try. It really works well. Okay. All right, I finished there. Thank you.